Hi guys and welcome back. Today is going to be a light review on a new tablet that I'm trying out, as well as a little bit on the piece that I'm actually doing. So if you came here specifically for a review on the tablet, there will be a few other things mixed in a little bit, so I'm sorry for that. And also I say a light review because I'm not going to be getting into any of the technical details of it, just the basic things you need to know about this tablet. Mostly what I'm focusing on today is talking about the usage of it, how it feels when I experience it, as well as comparisons between that and my day-to-day tablet that I have. So I got this tablet from Huion to review, so that's just out there. They did send it to me, but beyond that, anything else is just 100% my opinion. And there are definitely lots of positives about this tablet, but also lots of negatives. So you can be sure that you're getting my honest opinion on that. And the tablet that I will be comparing it against is the Wacom Cintiq 13HD. That's the one that I normally use and the one that I bought years ago and I've still been using. And yeah, the tablet for today that we're talking about is the Huion, I think I'm saying that right, maybe. It's Kamvas GT-191. And just for reference, this one is starting at $500 and it is 19 inches diagonally. And the Cintiq that I'll be mentioning here and there, it is $800 and it is a 13-inch screen. So this one right off the bat is significantly larger, and that is a huge bonus. I absolutely feel like 13 inches is just a little bit too snug for a tablet. Had I been able to experience using such a small tablet before I bought this one, I probably would have waited and saved up to have gotten a larger one rather than the smaller one. So it does have the benefit of being much larger. And another huge benefit actually is not the tablet itself, but the stand. So the stand that comes with the Kamvas is really pretty cool. I will probably insert a little clip of me using it, but it has grips on the bottom so it stays nice and tight on your table. But the biggest thing that I love about it is there are a lot more articulations of an angle that you can have the screen at. So for the Cintiq, that, and they may have changed it, I don't know if they've updated it, but the one that I have has a very flimsy, it's almost like a cardboard cutout really of a frame that holds up the tablet, and there's only 3 positions that you can have it at, and it's kind of a pain to switch between one from the next. So I cannot do it one-handed, but the Kamvas one I can. This is particularly nice because the Kamvas is a very nice size for using as a tablet, but it's also a great size for having as a screen. So being able to have it off in the corner and then just reaching over and then putting it into the most upright position using only one hand, all you have to do is at the top of the tablet, there's a little lever that you pull it up towards the top of the screen, and then it loosens it, and then I can position it where I want and then let it go of that little lever and it stays there. So it's a very easy to reach. I can do it one-handed, and that makes it really usable to transition from drawing to setting my my desk up for just using it and using my computer. Okay, now on to some of the negatives. And I actually feel like some of these negatives are pretty significant, but it really does depend on your computer setup and on how you personally interact with your tablets. The first one though is the software for the driver for this tablet is hard to deal with, and it is not very user friendly. With my Wacom, it was very much a plug in the tablet, download it, get all the settings right, and it just worked. And for this one, I have run into strange glitches where it doesn't quite work the way it should, and then suddenly it changes settings on me, or it has this issue a lot actually where I'll be drawing and suddenly the pen will just stop connecting with it. It will no longer control the mouse, and I'm not really sure why it's doing that. And I usually have to turn off the tablet and then I restart the software itself, and sometimes it solves it, other times it'll come back up, but the settings have been tweaked slightly so it no longer behaves the same way that I wanted it to. So there's just things where it feels like I have to struggle a little bit more to make it run the way that I want it to, whereas with other options, other drivers that I've used for other tablets, they seem to work better and they were easier to make it exactly what I wanted it. And a few small details about the Kamvas. The pen is something that has to be plugged in to recharge, but it actually comes with 2 pens, so it's not actually a problem when it comes to using it, because I'll use one pen and then when it dies, I just plug it in and take the one that was already plugged in and charging and draw with that. So I have not had an issue with that at all. And the benefit of that is that it does allow this tablet to be cheaper. If it had been the type of pen that runs with the Cintiq where you don't have to charge it at all, it would obviously increase the cost of this tablet. So at first it seems like, oh, you have to recharge this pen. That's kind of a big negative, but it's not, because it comes with 2 pens. So yeah, I am actually totally okay with that. One thing that I do wish that the Kamvas had is I wish it had hotkeys. So hotkeys are just the little buttons on the side of the tablet that you can have it programmed to have different keys or settings on it depending on how you like to use it. And I use my keyboard and these hotkeys on my Cintiq all the time, and I'm very used to that as part of my workflow. But if you are someone who doesn't even use hotkeys, or if you're coming in fresh for a new tablet, it may be something that's just not even part of your workflow, so it doesn't even matter if they're there or not. I like them. I would rather have them, but again, it's just comes down to workflow. Using keyboard shortcuts oftentimes is just as fast or faster, so they're nice, but they're not necessary. Okay, so I think my overall opinion and comparison with this tablet is that the Kamvas is a great option if you're ready to start getting into digital. If you're already thinking about either moving up in the world as far as tablets, or you're already thinking about a Cintiq, I would recommend the Cintiq. It is a lot more precise and it behaves a lot more intuitively. I find that when I'm using my Cintiq, it's just a much more easy experience than when I'm using the Kamvas. The Kamvas feels like I have to struggle with it a little bit. So if you're already in that vein of thought, or if you want to get into working with a tablet that's a professional quality, I would suggest the Cintiqs. But if you're ready to start getting into digital and you are looking at a tablet to start with, the Kamvas is a great option, especially compared to traditional tablets that don't have a screen. This is by far better than any tablet without one. Those are the tablets that I started off with. I think it was an Intuos, and it didn't have a screen, so it added a lot of problems to it. But when you're using one with a screen, it is a lot more intuitive, and it leads into being able to work a lot better with the way that you're already thinking about art. So yeah, it comes down to just your priorities, what you want to get out of your tablet. If you want a professional quality tablet, then I would get the Cintiq. If you want one that will have a screen, that'll be great for sitting down, getting used to it, starting drawing in digital, then the Kamvas is a good option as well. So again, the Cintiq right now is $800. The Kamvas is $500. The Kamvas is a lot larger. Cintiq is a lot smaller. It all just comes down to priorities of what you're looking for in your tablet and what you want to get out of it. So I think the final takeaway for me is that if I were to have to re-buy my tablet, and after I've tried both of these, I would still get my Cintiq. It's just a lot more precise, and the way that it handles is a lot more controllable for me. But a lot of people, the Kamvas is going to be the right option for you. It is $300 cheaper again, and it is a lot larger, and it has a screen, which is a great option. So if you're looking into an entry-level tablet, this one has a screen, which is great. So it all comes down to what you need, but for me, it's still going to be the Cintiq that wins. But now that we've talked about the tablet, let's just talk a little bit about what I'm doing and a little bit about what I'm going to be doing in the future. So I do like to do my videos where I don't do the same thing twice in a row, so I do apologize for that, where this feels very similar to my earlier video this week. But I will be coming out with my big finished traditional piece on Wednesday, so stay tuned for my next video. But today, this piece that I'm working on, it has things that I really like that ended up the way it did, but it also has a lot of things that I'm irritated that I let myself fall into the same trap. So one of the big things is that this looks very similar stylistically to things that I have used to draw, but I've tried to get away from it. And the biggest reason why I think this is a little bit inadequate compared to what I do now more so is that I didn't use any reference for this, and it shows. And I wish that I had just taken a little bit of time to look up some reference of just the head and the neck and the shoulders so that I could have gotten that overall anatomy and realism in there a little bit better. Those are always the ones that I'm happier with when I'm drawing, even if it's just a very quick, loose reference to use. Having something to base it off of helps a lot. So I do think that was something that right from the get-go, if I had started with that, this whole sketch would have been a lot tighter and better and closer to what I want to do. So there's that. But I did actually really enjoy the color process for this one. I think that I'm starting to get a little bit more aware of the path that I need to go as far as choosing my colors, especially digitally, because pretty much for all of my pieces, it's very much like a stumbling along process. And this one is no different, but I really liked the contrast of the several colors that I ended up with, where I have this like bright magenta and then a bright red against this subdued dark indigo color. And oftentimes when I'm working, I'm not making significant specific choices of what colors are going to stand out against other colors and the overall impact that they have. So I would like to get into being a little bit more thought out with that, where I can let myself have more play with it as I'm working on it, but being able to know, okay, this is the effect that I want, and this is how I can have options to get it done, would be a better option. But yeah, I actually do really like the colors that this ended up with. One thing that really helped me see that is that after I finished up this piece and several of the individual layers, I went into the top, and I believe it was image adjustments, hue and saturation, I believe. And I just took that slider on the top where it changes what types of colors are going into it. And I like to do that a lot with my pieces, actually. Usually I only end up pushing it just a few ticks one way or the other. But sometimes, like this one, I really pushed it really far because it started off with very unnatural colors anyways. And I found an overall color palette that I liked a lot more. So being able to control it in that way, it helps me see colors that I wasn't actually putting down. And I wish that was something that I was working more proactively, that I was thinking through those color palettes to begin with and then putting those into my pieces rather than finding them. But the fact that I'm able to find them and seeing what I like is at least a step in the right direction. So the takeaway of that, I guess, is that I really love the colors that ended up being. That's teaching me that I need to be a little bit more aware of what colors I'm going to end up with. And that is it for today. Like I mentioned, I will be diving right back into my traditional stuff. So if you missed that, I'll be back with watercolors on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And I do post every Wednesdays and Saturdays. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet or that bell button, please do, and you'll get notifications on when I post. And I will put a link in the description to my art shop where I have prints and originals. And I'll also have a link to my Instagram account. And that is actually it for today. So I will see you guys at my next video. Thanks for watching.